Hello everybody, my name is Eric D. Johnson, also known as BrightShine. I live right here in the city of Memphis, in the state of Tennessee, in the county sheriff. Today's date is March the 13th, 2016. Time 4:56 a.m. First, say thank you to all my family, my support for your continued encouragement support. Continue to keep myself employed right here in the city of Memphis in this tri-state area. I'll continue to further my education at Monroe College online, pursuing my associate degree, studying business administration, concentration marketing. And on today's video, we're going to continue our discussion on African traditional religion. And the music here in the background is radio station, thisafrica.me. Let me turn about it. And as you know, I had to get back. As you know, today, well, last night, this morning, uh, time went forward, so we lost an hour. So it's kind of the reason why it's the early in the morning, like 4 something in the morning, almost 5 o'clock in the morning. But irregardless, we're gonna continue to I'll talk about African traditional religion, and as you know, African traditional religion is being taught. It's being taught at institutions of higher learning in sub-Saharan Africa. You can earn a bachelor's degree, master's degree, PhD in African traditional religion. When we say sub-Saharan Africa, we're talking about when we talking about sub-Saharan Africa, we talking about this region right here. And on that region, this is what they refer to as sub-Saharan Africa. Now on this map, same thing. You can see in the green, that's sub-Saharan Africa. as you can see, you see sub-Saharan Africa. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna pretend, like I said, we're gonna continue to talk about African traditional religion, and we're gonna do one chapter on the Book of Judges in the Old Testament in Hebrew. Then we're gonna do the Quran, a short chapter, because this is something that needs to be established and made perfectly clear that in these books, the Holy Bible and the Holy Quran, what you have is the Afro-Asiatic, uh, you know, sending their uh, culture to other people. Now, the things that are contained in these books, you know, it's not just the alphabet. It's the way these people live. It's the way these people, way of life is in the book. See, and this is not Niger Congo culture. It's Afro-Asiatic culture. got the video getting started.
המלך דוד זקן בא בימים, ויכסוהו בבגדים, ולא יחמלו. ויאמרו לו עבדיו, יבקשו לאדוני המלך נערה. ויהי אחרי מות יהושע,
I had the volume turned down.
וישאלו בני ישראל באדוני לאמור, מי יעלה לנו אל הכנעני בתחילה להילחם בו?
First chapter, book of Judges.
ויאמר אדוני, יהודה יעלה, הנה נתתי את הארץ בידו. ויאמר יהודה לשמעון אחיו, עלה איתי וגורלי, ונלחמה בכנעני, והלכתי גם אני איתך וגורלך, וילך איתו שמעון. ויעל יהודה,
First chapter,
ויתן
book of
אדוני
Judges,
את הכנעני
Old Testament,
והפריזי
in
בידיו,
Hebrew.
ויקום בבזק 10,000 איש. וימצאו את אדוני בזק בבזק, וילחמו בו, ויכו את הכנעני ואת הפריזי. וימוס אדוני בזק, וירדפו אחריו, ויאחזו אותו, ויקצצו את בהונות ידיו ורגליו. ויאמר אדוני בזק, 70 מלכים בהונות ידיהם ורגליהם מקוצצים, היו מלקטים תחת שולחני. כאשר עשיתי, כן שילם לי אלוהים. ויביאוהו ירושלים, וימות שם. וילחמו בני יהודה בירושלים, וילכדו אותה, ויכוה לפי חרב, ואת העיר שלחו באש. ואחר ירדו בני יהודה להילחם בכנעני, יושב ההר, והנגב והשפלה. וילך יהודה אל הכנעני היושב בחברון, בשם חברון לבנים, קריית ארבע, ויכו את ששי ואת אחימן ואת תלמי. וילך משם אל יושבי דביר, בשם דביר לבנים, קריית ספר. ויאמר כלב, אשר יכה את קריית ספר ולחמה, ונתתי לו את עכסה בלתי לאישה. וילכדה עתניאל בן כנז, אחי כלב הקטון ממנו, וייתן לו את עכסה ביתו לאישה. ויהי בבואה ותסיתהו לשאול מאת אביה השדה, ותצנח מעל החמור. ויאמר לה כלב, מה לך? ותאמר לו, הבה לי ברכה, כי ארץ הנגב נתתני, ונתת לי גולות מים. וייתן לך כלב את גולות עילית ואת גולות תחתית. ובני כלי חותן משה עלו מעיר התמרים את בני יהודה מדבר יהודה, אשר בנגב ערד, וילך וישב את העם. וילך יהודה את שמעון אחיו, ויכו הכנעני יושב צפת, ויחרימו אותה, ויקרא את שם העיר חורמה. וילכוד יהודה את עזה ואת גבולה, ואת אשקלון ואת גבולה, ואת עקרון ואת גבולה. ויהי אדוני את יהודה, ויורש את ההר, כי לא להוריש את יושבי העמק, כי רכב ברזל להם. ויתנו לכלב את חברון, כאשר דיבר משה, ויורש משם את שלושה בני הענק. ואת היבוסי יושב ירושלים לא הורישו בני בנימין, וישב היבוסי את בני בנימין בירושלים עד היום הזה. ויעלו בית יוסף גם הם בית אל, ואדוני עמם. ויתירו בית יוסף בבית אל, בשם העיר לפנים לוז. ויראו השומרים איש יוצא מן העיר, ויאמרו לו, הראנו נא את מבוא העיר, ועשינו עמך חסד. ויראם את מבוא העיר, ויכו את העיר לפי חרב, ואת האיש ואת כל משפחתו שילחו. וילך האיש ארץ החיתים, ויבן עיר, ויקרא שמה לוז, הוא שמה עד היום הזה. ולהוריש מנשה את בית שאן ואת בנותיה, ואת תענך ואת בנותיה, ואת יושבי דור ואת בנותיה, ואת יושבי יבלעם ואת בנותיה, ואת יושבי מגידו ואת בנותיה. ויואל הכנעני לשבת בארץ הזאת. ויהי כי חזק ישראל, וישם את הכנעני למס, והורש לא הורישו. ואפרים לא הוריש את הכנעני היושב בגזר, וישב הכנעני בקרבו בגזר. זבולון לא הוריש את יושבי קדרון ואת יושבי נהלול, וישב הכנעני בקרבו, ויהיו למס. אשר לא הוריש את יושבי עכו, ואת יושבי צידון, ואת אחלם, ואת אכזיב, ואת חלבה, ואת אפיק, ואת רחוב. וישב האשרי בקרב הכנעני יושבי הארץ, כי לא הורישו. נפתלי לא הוריש את יושבי בית שמש, ואת יושבי בית ענת, וישב בקרב הכנעני יושבי הארץ. ויושבי בית שמש ובית ענת היו להם למס. וילחצו האמורי את בני דן ההרה, כי לא נתנו לרדת לעמק. יואל האמורי לשבת בהרחרס, באיילון ובשעלבים, ותכבד יד בית יוסף ויהיו למש. וגבול האמורי ממעלה עקרבים, מהסלע ומעלה. פרק ב'.
All right, that was the book of Judges in the Old Testament, first chapter. So now we're gonna go to the Holy Quran. We're gonna go right over here to the Meaning of Islam channel on YouTube, and it's the Holy Quran. So we'll find one of these chapters. All right, we're gonna go to chapter 77. About 8 minutes long, 8 minutes 20 seconds. Chapter 77.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful.
والمرسلات عرفا.
By those winds sent forth in gusts,
فالعاصفات عصفا.
and the winds that blow violently,
والناشرات نشرا.
and by the winds that spread clouds,
فالفارقات فرقا.
and those angels who bring criterion,
فالملقيات ذكرا.
and those angels who deliver a message
عذرا أو نذرا.
as justification or warning.
إنما توعدون لواقع.
Indeed, what you are promised is to occur.
فإذا النجوم طمست.
So when the stars are obliterated,
وإذا السماء فرجت.
and when the heaven is opened,
وإذا الجبال نسفت.
and when the mountains are blown away,
وإذا الرسل أقتت.
when the messenger's time has come.
لأي يوم أجلت
For what day was it postponed?
ليوم الفصل
For the day of judgment.
وما أدراك ما يوم الفصل
And what can make you know what is the day of judgment?
ويل يومئذ للمكذبين
Woe that day to the deniers.
ألم نهلك الأولين
Did we not destroy the former peoples?
ثم نتبعهم الآخرين
Then we will follow them with the later ones.
كذلك نفعل بالمجرمين
Thus do we deal with the criminals.
ويل يومئذ للمكذبين
Woe that day to the deniers.
ألم نخلقكم من ماء مهين
Did we not create you from a liquid disdain?
فجعلناه في قرار مكين
And we placed it in a firm lodging,
إلى قدر معلوم
for a known extent.
فقدرنا فنعم القادرون
And we determined it, and excellent are we to determine.
ويل يومئذ للمكذبين
Woe that day to the deniers.
ألم نجعل الأرض كفاتا
Have we not made the earth a container,
أحياء وأمواتا
of the living and the dead,
وجعلنا فيها رواسي شامخات وأسقيناكم ماء فراتا
and we placed therein lofty, firmly set mountains, and have given you to drink sweet water.
ويل يومئذ للمكذبين
Woe that day to the deniers.
انطلقوا إلى ما كنتم به تكذبون
They will be told, proceed to that which you used to deny.
انطلقوا إلى ظل ذي ثلاث شعب
Proceed to a shadow of smoke having 3 columns,
لا ظليل ولا يغني من اللهب
but having no cool shade and availing not against the flame.
إنها ترمي بشرر كالقصر
Indeed, it throws sparks as huge as a fortress,
كأنه جمالة صفر
as if they were yellowish black camels.
ويل يومئذ للمكذبين
Woe that day to the deniers.
هذا يوم لا ينطقون
This is the day they will not speak,
ولا يؤذن لهم فيعتذرون
nor will it be permitted for them to make an excuse.
ويل يومئذ للمكذبين
Woe that day to the deniers.
هذا يوم الفصل جمعناكم والأولين
This is the day of judgment. We will have assembled you and the former peoples.
فإن كان لكم كيد فكيدون
So if you have a plan, then plan against me.
ويل يومئذ للمكذبين
Woe that day to the deniers.
إن المتقين في ظلال وعيون
Indeed, the righteous will be among shades and springs. desire.
كلوا واشربوا هنيئا بما كنتم تعملون.
Being told, eat and drink in satisfaction for what you used to do.
إنا كذلك نجزي المحسنين.
Indeed, we thus reward the doers of good.
ويل يومئذ للمكذبين.
Woe that day to the deniers.
كلوا وتمتعوا قليلا إنكم مجرمون.
O disbelievers, eat and enjoy yourselves a little. Indeed, you are criminals.
ويل يومئذ للمكذبين.
Woe that day to the deniers.
وإذا قيل لهم اركعوا لا يركعون.
And when it is said to them, bow in prayer, they do not bow.
ويل يومئذ للمكذبين.
Woe that day to the deniers.
فبأي حديث بعده يؤمنون.
Then in what statement after the Quran will they believe?
We're gonna stop on that one. So that was the Holy Quran on the Mina Islam YouTube channel. That was chapter 77. So we're gonna move forward. We're gonna refer back to the professor's paper, and in the paper we'll be referring to God, divinities, and spirits in African traditional religious ontology. And we're going to refer back to uh, the origin of belief in God in Africa. So that, again, we refer to again we refer to the paper that Reverend Emike Siakiki and Dr. Chike A. Ikepara wrote. The title of the paper that these two professors wrote: God, Divinity, and Spirits in African Traditional Religion Ontology. We're gonna start. We're gonna refer back the origin of belief in God in Africa. The origin of belief in God in Africa. There are divergent views of scholars as per the origin of religion. Some see religion as originating from fear. People saw the vastness of the universe and the rumblings of thunder and lightning and the vastness of the sea and so many other things that caused them fear, and so developed faith in something that would shield them from what they feared. Others see religion as originating from magic, while others see religion as the creation of priestly class. As there are divergent views of scholars concerning the origin of religion, in the same way many scholars have various views as per the origin of belief in God in Africa. Three important views exist, which are here explained. Number one, through reflections on the universe, Africans came to believe in God. This view has its basis on the fact that Africans believe in God as the creator of the universe. This belief may have led them to reflect on the vastness of the universe. Their imagination led them to this conclusion that there must be a supreme being whose power not only created this vast and complex universe, but also sustains it. They therefore began to give this being worship and adoration. Mbidi, writing in his work, Introduction to African Religion, explains that the process of arriving at this conclusion of belief must have taken a long time, and there must have been many myths and ideas which try to explain these mysteries of the world. Number two, through realization of their limitations, Africans came to believe in God. This second view or explanation of the origin of belief in God in Africa has its root in man's limitations and the insatiable nature of man's needs. Africans saw that they were limited and weak in many respects, including knowledge and power, particularly in the face of death, calamity, thunderstorms, earthquakes, mighty rivers, and great forces which are beyond man to control. These limitations and powerlessness rather led them to speculate that there must be a supreme being who is superior to these other powers that can be drawn to help them through appeasement and or sacrifice. Mbidi argues that this idea made it logical and necessary for man to depend on the one who was more powerful than people. Introduction to African Religion. This made Africans to feel that they needed the help of the supreme being in their experience of limitation and powerlessness. This is the great God that the Africans worship. It should be observed that the process of this formulation took a long period before it was actually conceptualized. Number three, as Africans observed the forces of nature, they came to believe in God. This third view of the origin of belief in God in Africa is so important because it has to do with the various forces of nature. From time immemorial, man has been in the habit of looking at the forces of nature with awe and reverence. This made man to worship these forces as having one supernatural power or author. As Africans looked at the weather, storms, thunder, and lightning, and other phenomena such as day and night, the firmament, the sun, moon, and stars, seeing their enormous benefit to man yet unreachable, the Africans began to associate the sky with a great God who is very close to man, supplying man's needs, such as rain for this land to produce abundant fruit. Mbidi argues that this may be the reason that God is so much associated with the sky and the heavens. He argues further that it is very likely that Africans came to believe in God's existence through such a link between heaven and earth. Man was at the center of the universe, standing on the earth, but looking up to the heavens, and their belief began to make sense and fit into man's continued attempts to understand and explain the visible and the invisible universe, the earthly and heavenly worlds of man, of which man is the center. Introduction to African Religion, 41 and 42. African religion centers on belief and practicing. This knowledge of God through belief became the cardinal point of the religion of Africans. We'll start right there. Okay, read that. I tell you what. All right, we're gonna start reading. Now, when I was looking at, I was trying to see how much time we want to read. Hold on, we're gonna read Dr. John S. M. B. Introduction to African Religion. Dr. John S. M. B. And we're gonna be reading on page, starting on page 13. African religion is part of the African heritage. That's my chair. All right, and then now we read it. We're gonna read from Dr. Joseph Omasede Awelelu's book that he co-wrote with Dr. P. Adelumo Dopemu, and the title of the book that they wrote, West African Traditional Religion. We're gonna read from there. So I'm gonna go ahead and read this. Read Miss Mbiti's book, Introduction to African Religion. On page 13, African religion is part of the African heritage. In the first chapter, we learn that the African heritage is very rich. It is historical, cultural, and religious. Therefore, we can say that religion is part and parcel of the African heritage, which goes back many hundreds and thousands of years. African religion is the product of the thinking and experiences of our forefathers and mothers, that is, men, women, and children of former generations. They formed religious ideas, they formulated religious beliefs. They observed religious ceremonies and rituals. They told proverbs and myths which carried religious meanings, and they evolved laws and customs which safeguarded the life of the individual and his community. We cannot understand the African heritage without understanding its religious part. Religion is found in all African peoples. Their different cultures have been influenced very strongly by religion, as it is found in each people. The earliest records of African history show that the Africans of ancient Egypt were very religious people up to this day. Africans who live according to their traditional ways are also said to be very religious. Through the ages, therefore, religion has been for Africans the normal way of looking at the world and experiencing life itself. For that reason, it is found wherever people are. It is integrated so much into different areas of life that in fact most of the African languages do not have a word for religion as such. They only have words for religious ideas, practices, and objects or places. We shall look at these later on in the book to know exactly what they are. And continue reading. It says African religion belongs to the people. Because African religion developed together with all the other aspects of the heritage, it belongs to each people within which it has evolved. It is not preached from one people to another. Therefore, a person must be born in a particular African people in order to be able to follow African religion in their group. It would be meaningless and useless to try and transplant it to an entirely different society outside of Africa, unless African peoples themselves go there with it. Even within Africa itself, religion takes on different forms according to different tribal settings. For that reason, a person from one setting cannot automatically and immediately adjust himself to or adopt the religious life of other African peoples in a different setting. The peoples of Europe, America, or Asia cannot be converted to African religion, as it is so much removed from their geographical and cultural setting. Since African religion belongs to the people, when Africans migrate in large numbers from one part of the country to another, or from Africa to other continents, they take religion with them. They can only know how to live within their religious context, even if they are converted to another religion like Christianity or Islam. They do not completely abandon their traditional religion immediately. It remains with them for several generations and sometimes centuries. A good example of this is the case of Afro-Americans and Afro-Caribbeans in the Americas and the West Indies. In spite of being suppressed, brainwashed, and bombarded with another and foreign culture since the days of slavery, which lasted up to the 19th century, they have retained many elements of their African religiosity to this day. It is African religion which gives its followers a sense of security in life. Within their religious way of life, they know who they are, how to act in different situations, and how to solve their problems. This does not mean that African religion has no weaknesses and no false ideas, but as far as it goes, it has supplied the answers to many other problems of life, even if these may not have been the right answers in every case, because it provides for them answers and direction in life. People are not willing to abandon it quickly. Otherwise, they will feel insecure afterwards unless something else gave them an additional or greater sense of security. When Africans are converted to other religions, they often mix their traditional religion with the one to which they are converted. In this way, they think and feel that they are not losing something valuable, but are gaining something from both religious systems. African religion functions more on a communal than an individual basis. For example, its beliefs are held by the community. Therefore, it does not matter much whether or not the individual accepts all of these beliefs. The ceremonies are performed mainly in or by a group of the family, by relatives, by the whole population of one area, or by those engaged in a common occupation. African religion is an essential part of the way of life of each people. Its influence covers all of life, from before the birth of a person to long after he has died. People find it useful and meaningful in their lives, and therefore they let it spread freely. They teach it and formulate to their children through conversation, proverbs, and myths, as well as through practice. Young people also learn about it through participating in religious activities such as ceremonies, festivals, rituals, and so on. Since African religion belongs to the people, no individual member of the society concerned can stand apart and reject the whole of his religion, of his people's religion. To do so would mean to cut himself off from the total life of his people. Even if the individual is converted to another religion, this should not mean abandoning his African culture altogether. Where there is no real conflict between African religion and other religions, the convert things retains things have been said. Even many Africans have been led to use the same wrong terms and hold the same idea. Let us put right some of these wrong things. Much of the convert retains much of his cultural and religious background as long as he remains within the traditional setup of life. On page 16, how African religion was founded. Some of the world religions like Christianity and Islam have founders who started them. This is not the case with African religion. It evolved slowly through many centuries as people responded to the situation of their life and reflected upon their experience. Many factors must have played a part in its development. These include the geographical environment, mountains, rivers, deserts, and forests, the change of the seasons, the powers of nature, such as earthquakes, thunderstorms, and volcanoes, calamities, epidemics, diseases, birth and deaths, and major historical events like wars, locust invasion, famines, migrations, and so on. To these must be added man's reflection on the universe, the questions about his origin, the earth and the sky, the problems of evil and suffering, the phenomena of nature, and many other problems. Religious ideas and practices arose and took shape in the process of man's search for answers to these questions and as ways of making human life safer and better. They were influenced by human experience and reflection. No doubt many of the ideas and practices were later abandoned when they were found to be inadequate. But as time went on, these ideas and practices increased in number and spread as the people increased and dispersed. Many religious ideas and practices sprang up simultaneously in different parts of the continent, while others spread through contact among the different societies. For this reason, we find many, we find both similarities and differences in African religion all over the continent, where religious ideas and practices were borrowed or interchanged. Each people adapted them to suit its own requirements. Where people spoke related languages, it was easier for some of the religious ideas and concepts to spread among them than where neighboring people spoke entirely different languages. Just as there were no founders of African religion, there have been no reformers, preachers, or missionaries to change it, improve it, or take it overseas to other continents. Changes affecting African religion have sprung up out of the historical changes in the lives of the people concerned. For example, where one society fought and conquered another and ruled it, no doubt the religious life of the conquerors often left its mark on the life of the conquered people. Where a strong king or chief wished to see new ceremonies or sacrifices made, he no doubt made it obligatory for them to be introduced. In time of danger such as drought, war, or calamity, religious activities revived in order to meet the needs of the time. In such ways, change did come upon African religion from place to place and from time to time through leading personalities of the nation, the intermingling of peoples, and national necessities. Traditional religion is open to new ideas, and it must have assimilated ideas in the course of long history. Does African religion have sacred scriptures? The Bible is the sacred book of Christianity, and the Quran is the book of Islam. African religion has no scriptures or holy books. It is written in the history, the hearts, and experiences of the people. Having no sacred scripture, it has been able to move with the times, and it has produced no religious controversy. People are free to hold different views and beliefs without the danger of being accused of heresy or falsehood. On the other hand, since there are no sacred books, we cannot tell precisely what African religion may have been 500 years ago and how far it may differ today from what it was many centuries ago. Therefore, we cannot speak of the purity of African religion since there is no authority about what it was originally or at any given point in its history. African religion is very pragmatic and realistic. It is applied to a situation as a need arises. The followers of the African religion are not bound by any authority which goes back in history. They just follow it as it has been handed down to them by former generations, changing whatever is necessary in order to suit their circumstances of life. In that way, some ideas and practices are forgotten forever unless they may be retained in some religious objects and myths. Whatever is forgotten because the people concerned found it useless for their needs and situations of life. Changes are often brought about by new necessities on the other hand. Since rural life does not often change radically, the main ideas and practices of African religion must have remained unchanged in general, even if the details may not have remained the same because of the lack of sacred writings. Some wrong ideas about African religion. Many books and articles about African religion have been written by outsiders. In these writings, a number of wrong and derogatory things have been said. Even many Africans have been led to use the same wrong terms and hold the same ideas. Let us put right some of these wrong things. African religion is wrongly called ancestor worship. This is wrong because Africans do not worship their departed relatives. It is true that departed relatives are believed to continue to live and to show interest in their surviving families. These families may show their belief by building shrines for the departed and placing bits of food or drink there or on the graves, and sometimes mentioning them in their prayers. But these acts of respect for the departed do not amount to worship of them. They show people's belief that the departed of up to 4 or 5 generations should not be forgotten. We showed at the beginning of this chapter that acts of worship, such as sacrifices and prayers, are only a part of African religion. What is a small part cannot constitute the entire religious system. It is completely wrong to speak of African religion as ancestor worship. African religion is wrongly called superstition. A superstition is a readiness to believe and fear something without proper grounds. We have shown that in African religion much more than beliefs is involved. Furthermore, these beliefs are based on deep reflections and long experience. They cannot therefore be called superstition. Followers of every religion in the world hold a number of superstitions, but this does not mean that their religion as such is the same as superstition. This also applies in the case of African religion. African religion is wrongly called animism or paganism. Animism means the system of belief and practice based on the idea that objects and natural phenomena are inhabited by spirits or souls. It is true that African peoples in their traditional setting acknowledge the existence of spirits and that some of the spirits are thought to inhabit objects like trees, ponds, and rocks. There are many stories told about such spirits. This is, however, only a small portion of the many beliefs held in African religion. Furthermore, it has to be seen in the context of the African view of the world in which God is considered to be supreme, and He has under Him spirits and men. To say that there are spirits in the world does not mean that people's religion is only about these spirits. Christianity is also not existence of spirits, but neither of them is animism. We have pointed out that belief in the spirits is only part of the system of beliefs found in African religion, and that as a religion it contains much more than this belief. Paganism or pagan is sometimes used as a derogatory word to describe Africans who are not followers of either Christianity or Islam, yet there are many people in Europe and America who do not follow either of these world religions and are often wholly irreligious, but they are never called pagans. Africans who follow African religion are deeply religious people, and it is wrong and foolish, therefore, to speak of them as pagans or to regard their religion as paganism. African religion is wrongly called magic or fetishism. Outsiders have mistakenly regarded Africans as simply believers in magic. It is true that magic, witchcraft, and sorcery feature much in the traditional life of African people, but their religion is not constructed around magic. It is much more than that. Africans believe that there is a force or power or energy in the universe which can be tapped by those who know how to do so, and then used for good or evil towards other people. But this is only a part of their belief. It is wrong, therefore, to equate African religion with magic. Later on in this book, we will say more about magic and witchcraft. Fetishism is a word which came originally from a Portuguese word used by early Portuguese traders and travelers to describe the charms worn by Africans on the west coast of Africa. Since then, it has been widely used to cover many other things connected with African religious life. It now connotes something bad and primitive. It is a completely inadequate term to describe African religion. A charm cannot be a religion, neither can a religion be a charm. There are other wrong names for African religion, but the ones we have considered are the commonest. We can only say that African religion is a major religious system in its own right. Like every other religion of the world, it has its own weaknesses and better strength. Our concern with it in this book is neither to praise it nor to condemn it, but simply to understand it in the context of African life. So we're gonna stop on that on page 19. I just got through reading passages. I started on page 13. African religion is part of the African heritage. And I stopped on page 19. In the book Introduction to African Religion, written by Dr. John S. Mbidi. West African Traditional Religion, book written by Dr. Joseph Olusegun Engelelu and also written by Dr. P. Adelomo Dopemo. And we're going to start reading where it's in the chapter 2, where it says belief in God, starting on page 36. I'm trying to get as much in as I can. Uh, then what I'm going to do is, I stopped it, I'm going to finish on my next video, because it's another book that I want to refer to. So I'm going to try to get as much in. Okay, we're going to start on page 36, page 36, belief in God. Names of God in West Africa. The West African peoples attach great importance to the names of things and persons. To them, nothing is said to exist until that thing is named. Names are not just abstract terms couched in indefiniteness. They are not mere labels, but they are pregnant with meaningful and symbolic importations. The names which the people give to their children clearly reflect the importance of West African names. Each of the names, when examined carefully, is either a full sentence of a contraction of sentences. Excuse me. For example, the Yoruba names Alawali and Baba Tundi in the Igbo, excuse me, in the Igbo names Ngozi Chukwu and Mike can be analyzed as following. A Olewale is made up of 3 words which make a sentence. O equals honor and WD equals come, Ali in home or house. Owale then means honor comes home. See, you have to pay attention. See, this is the reason why your culture, Niger Congo culture, pay close attention to what I'm showing. Pay close attention. But when you be reading that Holy Bible, and then you be reading that Holy Quran, pay close attention to what you hear in this book. Pay close. This is your culture, Niger Congo, not Afro-Asiatic. So Wali is made up of three words which make it sentence. Old equals honor. Let's spell O-L-D. A equals honor, and W-D equals come, and I-L-E equals home or house. O-Wali then means honor comes home. B, Babatunde is also made up of three words. Baba equals father. Tune equals again, repeated, continue, and D equals come. The full names mean father has come again. C, Ngozi Chukwu is made up of two words. Ngozi equals blessing, Chukwu equals God. The name means the blessing of God. D, now Mike also comprises two distinct words. N, that's a capital N, then a small n and an A, equals father. Emike equals noble, do great or much. The full name means father has done much. In this way, we find that names given to children are usually descriptive. They describe the circumstance around their birth, the type of life they will lead, their future and character. The names convey sentiments or truth, faith in deity, belief in about divinities and supersensible world, assurances and hopes, or of men and belief in the hereafter. Thus the name O-Wali above shows that something honorable or spectacular happened immediately before or after or at the child's birth. Babatunde indicates that an elderly man has just died in the family before the child is born, and the child is a partial reincarnation. And in that Mike tells us that the child fulfills the hopes of the parents in God, or the great ancestors who are keeping watch over the family affair. Names of God in West African belief have the same striking significance. First, what the people believe God to be is enshrined in the meaning of the name they call him. The names tell us something about the people's concept of God. They describe the nature and character of God as well as divinities. In them, many of what we know about God, his attributes, his works, his purpose, his relationship to man, and divinities are found. Secondly, West African names of God convey the faith of men in God, their hopes and expectations with reference to God, the divinities, spirits, ancestors, the supersensible world, and the hereafter. We shall illustrate these facts vividly with some West African names of God. The names there differ according to the different languages and sociological patterns of the people. A, the Yoruba. The Yoruba call God by several names. The most ancient one is Oludumare or Idumare. Some writers like J.O. Lucas regard this ancient name of God as a mere title of God. Lucas even thinks that the name is also a title of Ife, the oracle divinity of Yoruba land. This is not only misleadingly disturbing, but it's also a confusion of thought which confounded. The name Oludumare divides into three parts. Listen, pay close attention to this. The prefix O, O-L equals Oni. It means the owner of. The second part is Odu. The pronunciation depends on the accents placed on the vowel. According to Adawu, the word may mean Odu, a substantive, meaning a main heading or chapter, as we find in Odu Ife, the corpus of Ife recitals. It can also mean chief head or chief or scepter or authority. When the word is Odu, it can either be a substantive, meaning very large and deep container, or the full cell in the board or of Ayo, a Yoruba game made up of a board with 12 cells, or it can be an adjective meaning very large, very extensive, very full of superlative worth and quality. When we combine O with Odu, it is difficult to know which meaning of Odu is intended, but the double meaning fits in with the idea of God. Thus, Adawu is given supreme head, one who possesses the scepter or authority, or one who is superlative and perfect in greatness, size, quality, and work. Mari is the third part and seems to be more difficult of evaluation since it is capable of different interpretations, depending on the emphasis and the accents placed on the vowel. For our purpose, we take the meaning that fit into a concept of a supreme being first. It can be ma, re, meaning do not go, do not move, do not proceed, that which does not go, that which does not move or wander, that which remains, that which continues to be. Secondly, it may be mo-ari, meaning come-ari, or combining something with ari. Ari is a symbol of authority or uniqueness fixed on the crown worn by the king of Aiken. When this meaning is applied to deity, it means he who has absolute authority over all in heaven and earth and is incomparable. Thirdly, we can take Mari to be a corrupt form of Kar. Kar is a term describing the perfectly and extraordinarily full sail in the board of the Ayo game. We call a person Oludu Kadra when he has such a full sail. Using this in relation to deity, it means he is one who is absolutely perfect in superlative qualities. With regard to the Yoruba concept of Olodumare, none of these meanings can be left out. Each meaning fits well into their concept of God. Thus, the full meaning of Olodumare is the king or chief, unique, who holds the scepter, wields authority, and has the quality which is superlative in work, and he is at the same time permanent, unchanging, and reliable. That is why the Yoruba give him the attribute Oye, Oya, Yayiga, Ote, Eku, the mighty, durable, immovable that never died. Because of this unique, superlative worth of Olodumare, the name has been translated Almighty in the Yoruba Bible. Another Yoruba name of God is Oluran. The name is found always on the lips of the Yoruba. It enters their daily prayers, conversation, discussion, and saying. The name divides simply into two parts. O is a prefix meaning the owner of, as in Oni. Oran is the sky in heaven, or simply heaven. The meaning of Oran is therefore the owner of heaven, or the Lord of heaven. This depicts God as the author of all things visible and invisible, the head or overlord of all in heaven and on earth. The same Oluran has been adopted by Islam, and Christianity has been used successfully in evangelism. Then we have the same Orise. It is an old name, spelled Orise, by the Oru and Asikini people. The first part of the word Ori means literally the physical head, but it really means the inner head of man, the double or the personality, soul, which makes man a living being, and without which a man is not a man, but a lifeless corpse. In this regard, it should be translated like the Igbo Cha, the essence of being, or source being. The second part of the name, Si, means to happen or to come into being or to originate from. Orisi or Orisi then means the source from which beings originate, or the source of all living things. This name shows God as the creator of all things. We also have the name Olofin Oran, found frequently in liturgy and Odu corpus. Olofin means king, and Oran means heaven. God by this name is therefore the king in heaven, or the king of heaven. Igbo. Among the Igbo of Nigeria, we have three names of God. The principal name is Chukwu, and it is the one commonly found in the Theophorus. Proper names given to children among the Igbo. For example, we have the Igbo name Ngozi Chukwu, Kini Chukwu, Chukwu Emike, and Chukwu Jakoki. Chukwu breaks into two elements, Cha and source being, or the source of being, as in Yoruba Ori. It can also mean spirit. Ukwu means great, immense, or superlative. Chukwu then means the great source being or spirit. It connotes the great one from whom being originates. The next Igbo name, Chaniki, has three parts. Cha means source being or spirit. Ni means who or which. Ki means creator or to create. The full name means the spirit that creates or the source being who creates all things. Obasi is the third name of God among the Igbo. It is used through a wide area and among the Ibibio. The derivation of the name is buried in the remote past. See, the Edo, Osenobue, or Osenobue, is the name of God among the Edo of Nigeria. It can be broken into four parts. A, Ose, is a contraction or shortened form of the Yoruba name Orisi, or the Isekiri name Orisi, meaning the source of all being. B, Eno, is who or which, as we have in Chaniki among the Igbo. B means carry or sustain. D, Wa, or Uwe, means the world or the universe. The full name means the source of all beings who carries and sustains the world and universe. This name portrays God as the creator and absolute sustainer of the universe. D, the Nup. The Nup of Nigeria called God Soko. The name breaks into two. So and Ko. So means the sky heaven, one who occupies the sky heaven. Ko means great, immense, undimensional. Soko then means the great or supreme deity that resides in heaven. The Ajo, God among the Ajo, is called Timieru. They refer to God in feminine terms. Hence, Timieru is the greatness of all things. The name breaks into two parts, Timi and Ara. The first part, Timi, is both a verb and a noun. As a verb, it means to create or to mold, and as a noun, it means spirit or a mode of being. It can also mean the source being, the personality, soul, or man's double, as in Yoruba, Ora, and Igbo, Cha. The second part, Ara, is a feminine suffix meaning she. Timiru will then mean she who creates. God then among the Ajo is the source of the human soul or personality. Soul, she is the great, she is the creatress and sustainer of all things. A variant of Timiru among some Ajo people is Timuno. This has the same content, but Temuno can also be interpreted as spirit. F, the Tia of Nigeria called God Aondo. Aondo is really the Tia name for the sky heaven, the above, the firmament, or the vault of heaven. This name has been connected with the power that is believed to rule from above or from the sky heaven. Thus, by implication, Aondo means the great unknown above, or the power above that creates and rules all things. The Ibibio, God among the Ibibio, is known as Abasi Ibon. It's found among the Igbo. The name can be interpreted as the greatness God. It can also be interpreted as God who lives above the earth, or the God of the sky and earth. The Ibibio believe that God who lives above is the creator and the governor of all. The Iwi and Fon. Among the Iwi speaking people and the Fon of Dahomey, God is known as Nene Baluku. Some writers regard this deity as a creatress, while others refer to him as a creator. The Iwi, the Fon peoples themselves regard the deity as both male and female. This deity has been imported into Egba land under the name Baruku, and worshiped not as supreme being but as a divinity. However, the Igbe still retain the concept of the dual nature of the deity, male and female, as we shall learn later. Nene Baluku divides into two parts. The first part, Nene, means simply old or ancient. The second part, Baluku, is the generic name for God. Thus, the name Nene Baluku means the great ancient deity. In some areas among the Iwi and Fon, Mewu or Mewu Lise is regarded as a supreme deity. But oral traditions have shown that Mewu female and Lise male are only agents of creation. They came into being in consequence of Nene Baluku, and to them, dominion over the created order was ceded. The Akan and the Gay. The Akan of Ghana, called God by several names. First, they have the name Odoman Komo, Odoman Kome. The root of the word is Odom, meaning grace or mercy, and Kome has the meaning of plentiful or complete. We can either interpret the name as full of mercy, or the only giver of mercy or grace, or he who, or that which is uninterpretable, infinitely and exclusively full of grace, or he who alone is full of abundance or completeness, or simply he who in his grace has completed everything in heaven and on earth. This last meaning reminds us that God, in his capacity as creator, is called Odom and Kome. Another Akan name of God is Inyami or Onyami. This name is found among the Gay of Ghana as Inyomo, Inyami, or Inyam, with the same basic connotation meaning. Inyami is the principal or the most common name for the supreme God among the Akan. It comes from two words, Inye, meaning to get, and Mi, meaning to be full or to be satisfied. Inyani then means if you possess or get him, you are satisfied. In other words, Inyami is the God of fullness or God of satisfaction. However, some people derive the meaning of Inyami from the root Inyam, meaning shining or brightness or glory or bright. In this sense, Inyami is the bright, glorious God of the heaven and earth, who is before and above all things. He is not to be identified with the sky god of European creation. Some European writers interpret Inyamo as rain and thereby associate God with the sky. This is alien to the thoughts of the people. Inyan Kopan or Inyan Kopan is another name of God among the Akan. The name is made up of three elements. A. Onyami means the shining or the glories of the God of fullness. B. Ko means the one, single or alone. And C. Pan means great. The name can be translated as he who alone is the great God of fullness and satisfaction. The Mende. The Mende of Sierra Leone call God Ngiwo. They also refer to the supreme God as Levi, but this name seems to be found mostly on the lips of old people. The derivation of the name Ngiwo is difficult. Some people think that the name is derived from Ngili, the sky heaven, and Wo, long ago. If this is so, the meaning of Ngowo will be the eternal one who rules from the above. The name suggests that the eternity of God, and since he has no beginning and end, it means all that came into being and had beginning's work in consequence of him. That is why the Mindi call God Ngowo in his capacity as creator. They also say that Levi brought down all created things and things whose origin they do not know. The Kono of Sierra Leone know God by two names, viz. Mikite and Yete. The older other name is Mikite. It is not used in the everyday language. The name divides into three parts. A, me, meaning remain. B, ki, means two. And te means me. The combination of the three words will mean remain to. Remain to me. The concept here is that God is the one who was in existence long ago before anyone met him or before he was revealed to men. This suggests, like the Yaruba Olodumare, that God among the Kono is the one who remains, does not die, does not move, is permanent, unchanging, immortal, eternal, and reliable. And since he is the everlasting one, he is found by every generation. The other name, Yete, is found always on the lips of the people. It is also made up of three words. The prefix I, which has been dropped, means you. Ye means he. And Te means me or me. The combination will be you, he met. The thought is that God is the one you met everywhere. That God is the one you meet everywhere, anywhere, and all time. He is the great one above and over all. When we look at other minor ethnic groups in West Africa, we find that each of these groups has its own name of God. For example, the people of the northern territories of Ghana called Mankan, Kasine, and Buase called God Wuni, we or Winnie. But when we look closer, we see that such name of God is found among the minor ethnic groups have strikingly similar meanings as those of the major ethnic group. For example, the names Wuni, we, and Winnie, as indicated above, have the same basic meaning as Inyami or the Ashanti or Kan of Ghana. Wuni is associated with the sky or sun and therefore can be interpreted to mean the shining or brightness. Moreover, the people believe that Wuni, like Inyami, is the creator of life and the molder of destiny. However, for lack of space, we should limit ourselves to the names of God among the principal ethnic groups of West Africa. We may conclude by saying that these various names of God among the West African peoples point to almost a universal belief when analyzed etymologically, and that is that God is the supreme deity, the creator of both heavens and earth, and all things therein, the absolute sustainer and controller of the universe, the king unique, to whom both divinities and men owe allegiance, and in whom, for whom, with whom, about whom all things live. We shall learn more of this basic or universal concept of God as we look into the attributes of God. I'm going to start right there. Now I'm going to read this story that's at the back of this book. This is a book that has been written by Dr. Molifi Kiti Asante and Dr. Mike Inwe Doori, the Spearmaster. It's a story at the end of this book. And the title of this book is Spearmaster, An Introduction to African Religion. I'm going to read this story at the back of this book. And the story is at the back of the book is in chapter 9, starting on page 115. And the title of the story is The Spearmaster Story. The idea of harmony is captured in the African notion of hierarchy. The sky is at the top, the supreme power. who gives all life, and to whom all returns, dwells in the sky. The base is the earth, personified as a goddess who gives food and is the burying place of the dead. Ancestors exist on one side and natural forces on the other side. This is the nature of the triangle of our existence. Among African people, the ancient stories of origin and, definition are often told to cause children to think about what happens when we attempt to fool destiny. It was what the ancient Egyptians understood when they gave their children the stories of Osir and Offset. It is what Kofi Osiri Opoku means when he says Africa is so vast and has such a large number of societies which differ from each other considerably that one runs the risk of generalization when one speaks of traditional African religion. And yet there is a common thread in indigenous values, views, and experiences which shows a large measure of uniformity. Opoku, 1978, page 8. As we have seen, there are many common threads in PTARE. The idea of external light, let me tell you what that is. So now in this book, you'll see the word PTARE, and it means, and you can find the meaning on page 2 of this book in chapter 1, and it means popular traditional African religion everywhere. That's what PTAR means. PTARE. That's what's written in this book, so I had to make sure I let you know what it means. And you can find the meaning, what it means, on page 2 of this book in chapter 1. And it means popular, traditional African religion everywhere. So we're going to continue on. As we have seen, there are many common threads in PTARE, popular, traditional African religion everywhere. The idea of eternal life, that is, life really happening after death, is central to the notion of ancestors who live forever, so long as we remember them in ritual. The Dinka of the Sudan say that long ago there were dances often held by lions, and a man was dancing when a lion looked at him and demanded his bracelet. The man refused to give his bracelet to the lion, whereupon the lion bit his thumb completely off. Then the man bled to death, but the man had left a wife and daughter behind. But they had no son, and so the widow went weeping to the river. The river spirit heard her and asked her what was wrong. When she told the story of her misfortune, the river spirit said to her, "Lift your skirt and brush the waves toward you that they enter your body." The spirit gave her a spear and told her that the spear was a symbol of her bearing a male child. He also gave her a fish for food and told her to go home and relax without delay. The woman went home and soon bore a son, Abiel, who had a full set of teeth when he was born, a sign of unusual spiritual power. As an infant, he was left sleeping on the floor, but when the mother came back into the room, she noticed that a gourd of milk had been drunk. Not believing that it could have been the infant, she accused her daughter of taking the milk. She punished the daughter, so the same thing happened over and over again. The mother was quite disturbed by the situation, soon became suspicious. She acted like she was leaving the baby alone with the milk, but as she went out, she thought that she should hide herself in the bush and just watch the baby. This she did, and to her surprise, she saw the baby Abiel get up from the floor and drank the milk. She opened the door and accused him of drinking the milk. He told her not to tell anybody or she would die. She could not keep the secret to herself and went down the road telling all about her son who had drank the milk like a man, and she died as Abiel had said. He was very sad, but then he realized for the first time that he had been given the power of the spirit masters. He could no longer live with his family after his mother's death. He went to stay with his spirit father in the river until he grew up. He left the river as a man with an ox of many colors, representing all the colors of his cattle. The ox was named Longar, and from then on the man was Abiel Longar. Abiel Longar tended cattle that had belonged to his mother's first husband, who had died when the lion bit his finger off. Soon a great drought hit the land, and the cattle of the people began to die. Abiel's cattle stayed fat and healthy. The people could not understand why their cattle were dying, but Abiel's were not. One day, a group of young men spied on him. They watched him feed and water his cattle. They saw him give the cattle long-rooted grass. When Abiel discovered that the young man had spied on him, he told them not to tell anyone or else they would die. They told and they died. Abiel then decided to tell the village elders that they had to leave that place to avoid the death of all their cattle. He went and told them that he would show them where there was a big pasture and no death. They refused to believe him, so he went by himself and found the place, and his cattle prospered. But soon the people tried to follow him, but it was more difficult. Now, at one river where they were trying to cross, Abiel stood on the other side of the river, encouraging them. But as they came up out of the reeds, he would kill them with his spirit. Then one of the men, a Goliath, saw what was happening and decided to play a trick on Abiel. He would take a large ox bone and give it to a friend to take across the river, holding it on a pole in front of him as he crossed. When Abiel saw this, he thought it was a human and tried to spear it. Just then, a Goliath grabbed him and wrestled him to the ground. Finally, Abiel tired and gave up the wrestling and told a Goliath to bring the people over. Some were afraid, but to those who came, Abiel gave fishing spears to carry when they prayed and war spears when they fought. He gave them deities to worship and a blue bull whose thigh bone would be sacred to them. The men who received the spears became leaders of clans that are spear masters. They multiplied and taught the truth told to them by Abiel. And so it is in PTARE, popular traditional African religion everywhere. Those who cross the river and show no fear because they walk toward fear. As the poet Haki Mahabuti has said, receive two spears, one to maintain prosperity and the other to defend against the enemies of community. This is the profound lesson of the African religion. I'm going to stop right there. We're going to come back on my next video. We're going to come back on my next video. We're going to continue our reading. And we're going to continue talking about African traditional religion. And we're going to be able to go to some of the videos where we have these debates and things of this nature, because we need to really get really analyze this situation and make sure we don't let this situation uh, be something that defines a group of people who live here in the Western Hemisphere based on those videos. Because, as you know, African traditional religion is being taught in sub-Saharan Africa. And being that it's taught, it does not mean that it's only uh, confined or contained in the African continent. African traditional religion, just like reading in a book, you go to the library and read a book, then that means that you are aware of it. And when you become aware of African traditional religion, it's not just confined or contained to the African continent. So we're going to come back on my next video, and we're going to continue. I will talk about African traditional religion. And again, my name is Eric D. Johnson, also known as BrightShine. I live right here in the city of Memphis. It's in the state of Tennessee, in the county sheriff. And thank all my family for your continued encouragement and support. To my next video, take care of yourself. Wish each and every one of you the very best.